obviously he was a guy that was mentioned as a potential sign for the Browns, particularly because of his past history with Watkins. With Watson.
Yeah.
I don't know that when I saw this, there was a piece of me that said, "Oh, damn, we're not going to get him."
Yeah.
But also at that price tag, I thought, well, we just can't do that. Am I wrong?
Why not? Why not?
Well, I'm going to go back to honestly, you're the one that told me don't do this.
I did?
You did. You told us 3 months ago. 31 years old over the hill. That's the demarcation line for receivers. They never produce like they did before 31.
And generally that's true.
And so I kept hearing that in my head, Bull.
It's funny because I did say that and I believe that. In most cases, it's the case. He played so well last year. Now, I was hoping you could get him on a one-year deal.
Right.
But
is there an option, by the way, or is this locked?
I don't know how much is guaranteed.
Because I didn't see anything about it there being an option for the second year.
I don't know. I don't know what the guarantee is.
I only saw
the second
2 years, $26 million.
And obviously he took the money. The thing with the Browns is, we all know that this comes. We could talk about the DC. We could talk about the additions on the defensive line. The whole season comes down to, is Deshaun Watson the player he was in Houston?
Yeah.
Is that guy here? If he is, the Browns are a contender. If he's not, they're not. It's that simple.
Yeah.
However, if he is, okay, and you want to compete with the Kansas Cities, the Buffaloes, and the Cincinnatis, we'll say just those three.
Right.
Because I think there's others that you have to compete
Miami you can throw in.
But those are the three best in this conference. It's an arms race because those teams are loaded. And those teams are proven.
Yeah.
Those teams, Chiefs obviously are.
You're still not sure that the receiving core here.
I just don't. They're not as good. Like, the Chiefs receiving core. Let's throw tight end into that.
Yeah, because he's their best pass catcher.
Besides Kelsey, the rest of their guys, there doesn't appear to be anybody special.
Right.
But he's so ridiculous that it almost doesn't matter.
Yeah, he rises all talent to his level.
Because of Mahomes and Kelsey. It doesn't matter. The other guys are going to get open. The Bengals are loaded at wide receiver.
Sure.
The Bills are not as loaded as the Bengals, but Diggs is special. He's an elite wide receiver.
Right.
They got a good, solid tight end. They got solid other guys. The Browns' number one receiver is good, but he's not Jamar Chase. He's not Diggs. He's not Kelsey.
Right.
And so I want the rest to be as good as possible. Now, I like the potential. I really like Elijah Moore, and I do think there's a lot of potential. But it's not a sure thing. Yeah. And when you're trying to compete with the best of the best.
But is Hopkins at 31 a sure thing?
Maybe not. But he did still play very well last year. And as I said, he could easily fall off a cliff. And we may be looking at him on the Titans and he may suck. Some of that because they're not very good and they don't have a good quarterback. But maybe he's what Julio Jones was.
I'm not saying that he is Dwayne Bowe, but I'm still scarred from Dwayne Bowe.
Yeah, I hear that. I mean, this guy's been a much better player in his career.
Much better top-end player than him.
And we don't know what type of guy he is.
Right.
But
Dwayne Bowe just came here and stole money.
Yeah, I'm not killing the Browns for not getting Hopkins, but I'm disappointed because in the end, I'm still worried that they're short in their pass-catching room. I'm worried.
I think you could be two things. I'm with you. I do think they need another receiver because I want a buffer. And a lot of people, I said this the other day, and a lot of people on Twitter were like, well, who has all these great receivers? Someone's going to get hurt, and, who has all these great receivers where, their third receiver's that good? And I say, guys, I don't think sometimes people are a prisoner of the locality. I don't think people understand just how good certain other people's receiving cores are. Like, the Dolphins are elite. The Bengals are elite. You got guys, and you're playing in that division. I think the Jets have an opportunity to be a really fun offense. So for me, I come off as being over-aggressive, right? I want backups to the backups to the backups. In this case, something tells me I got to put this on Deshaun Watson's doorstep, right? If Deshaun Watson really wanted DeAndre Hopkins, I felt they would have had it done.
So you think this is by a byproduct of him not at least saying I need him?
Yes, he's saying because all else things being equal, go back and look what they did on the defensive side of football. Jim Schwartz got everything he wanted.
Everything.
Right? Everything.
And so did special teams.
So did special teams. They got they wouldn't got. So if DeAndre Hopkins is there, and you taking a look at it from a perspective of Deshaun Watson, if he says, guys, I like the people we got, but I got something special with him. Trust me.
Yeah.
If you bring him in here, we could pay dividends. I just don't think he had that level of urgency, right? And sometimes
even at the price tag, though,
even at the price tag, I think they would have took a look at it or went.
They had the money.
They had the
but
money.
it would have wiped him out just about.
Yes. Yeah.
Who else are they saving it for?
No, you're right. That's a good question. I don't know. Maybe
Yeah.
you keep some in a rainy day fund in case you get an injury and you have to go out and acquire somebody.
Because
I don't know.
if you got a track record, like, come on, let's take a look at it and go back from just a real world advantage. If you're doing a show, right, and they come to you, Jay, and say, all right, we're gonna start this show. Do you know anybody that is available out there that you really want to work with? If you have a relationship with a guy and he's been awesome where you've been working before,
yeah,
that's a done deal.
Sure.
Because you'll say, well, look, he'll be a little more expensive than another guy you can get,
but he's worth it.
But he's worth it.
Yeah, and so you think that did not happen?
I don't think that happened.
I think that's logical, G. I think that
does make sense.
It's probable. I think that it went that far.
So you're okay with it because the age.
I'm a little like I'm kind of in between you guys.
Right.
The age thing, Bull, because 3 months ago we had this discussion. I was preaching we had to get him.
Yeah.
And you were saying, no, we don't. And now we're on the other side of it.
I didn't want to trade for him.
No, I know, but I think everybody knew that he was going to be released because that's where it was going.
Yeah.
But for me, like you, I'm disappointed he's not on the Browns because I do think that we would be a more forceful offense with him in it.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But everything comes at a price. I rarely give the Browns the benefit of the doubt because I don't think they've earned it. Mm-hmm. In this particular case, I'd like to think that they did their due diligence. They knew what the final price tag was, and they just said, I think it's more what I proposed. It wipes away their rainy day fund to where, a couple of years ago they had to go out. Last year they had to go out and they had to get a center, right? They had to.
Right.
That's a key component to your season that you don't have a lot of depth at. They had to go out and get it. And by the way, that move really made a huge difference in their season.
It did.
Poachich came in and
overperformed
what we thought he was going to do.
Right.
But you can't completely wipe out your coffers because if you do and then you come up to that situation where you need someone again, you've got nothing there.
I just think there's always ways around it in season to get some extra cap space. But I will say this. I'll spin it positive here. It allows them to see what they got in Elijah Moore. Right?
Yeah.
To see what David Njoku is, and you and I have been very skeptical about David Njoku, but he's never played a full season with what we hope is a great quarterback.
Yeah.
Well, a guy who's been a great quarterback. What is David Njoku in a full season with Watson? What is Elijah Moore in a full season with Watson? Even DPJ to some degree. And if they feel like they're short at pass catcher during the season, there may be some guys that become available.
Yeah, yes. There usually are.
Now,
there usually are.
Somebody just mentioned, I think before the show, you mentioned Mike Evans. Okay? I don't know what Mike Evans' contract status is. I don't know what Chris Godwin's contract status is off the top of my head.
Yeah, I don't either.
But a lot of people think Tampa Bay's tanking this year to get what's his name, Caleb Williams?
Yeah.
All right?
You want his contract real quick?
Yeah, like what?
Yeah, he has a $24 million cap hit this year.
That's big.
Well, but you wouldn't have him for the whole season, so you wouldn't have to. The acquiring team wouldn't take that whole cap hit.
He's the second highest cap hit for any receiver.
What's Godwin? How about Godwin?
Give me 1 sec.
Because he's younger.
Do you know who has the highest cap hit of any receiver this year?
Amari Cooper.
Godwin.
Yeah.
Is 26. Is an $8.6 million.
Okay, that's nothing.
That's manageable.
Now think about that. Like, what if Chris Godwin became available during the season? Yeah. What is he, 28?
He is 20. Turning 28 this year.
Well, you kind of know what it would take to get him, though.
I hear you.
We don't have it.
Well,
I'm not going to be in the business of just mortgaging away our future with number one.
Jay looked in the back of his mind. What kind of picks is going with this?
Well, yeah, you know what it would take to get a Godwin, and I don't know that the Browns are willing to do that.
What's it gonna?
I don't think they should be.
What do you think it's going to take?
I think it'll take at least a second round. At least a second round.
To me, Chris Godwin,
and probably a first round.
If the Browns are good and Watson's playing well, and they have a chance to be a legit Super Bowl contender.
And they'll know by then.
They'll know by then.
They should.
Then it's worth giving up a second-round pick for Godwin.
So I would say revisit it in October.
That will be there. And if Elijah Moore has exploded and become – remember, he was a high draft pick. So
and he could.
If he become, then okay, you made the right move and not signing Hopkins.
I think this is David Njoku come to Jesus moment. Like
we've had a lot of those.
But this is the final one.
They paying him.
Did you guys see the fan and I think it was a fan and GM poll top 10 tight ends in football? He didn't get a whisper.
No, it wasn't fans. That was players, coaches, personnel executives, and GMs.
Oh,
so
okay.
this was
I thought I saw
only within the NFL.
It came out last week.
So it's even worse that he wasn't in the top 10.
Yeah, I mean, it's because they should know.
Right.
And he didn't get a sniff.
So
and
he was honorable mention. He was in so they listed the top 10.
Yeah.
And then they did 11 through 15.
Right,
which
basically would get you in the top half of the league. And he's paid like a number 3 tight end.
Right.
He's paid. I think his deal is the third best deal for all tight ends.
I think he could get up to the bottom half of that top 10, but he's never get. I'd be shocked if he ever gets in the top 5.
I think
maybe when Kelsey retires and Kittle retires.
I think what scares people is that you can see where they like the Browns' weapons. I can see how you can say I like them, but it's only one proven guy. Like there's only one guy who I've watched and turn it on and say he's open or he can get open on man-to-man coverage. That's Amari Cooper. Now David Njoku has times where he can catch balls that are really exceptional catches, but he also has balls where he drops. Elijah Moore, I like coming out of college, but they liked him with the Jets every single year. He never put it together.
In fairness, he didn't have great pass throws.
Did not have those guys.
What I would say to that is Garrett Wilson had a monster year last year as a rookie, right?
You got me on that one.
Yep.
I think Garrett Wilson, you talked about before, Mahomes is so good, he makes those that he's playing catch with better.
Yeah.
I think same thing in that case. I think Wilson is so good.
Right. Well,
G could have hit him.
I mean, you think about
that's
the year
scary as
Josh
hell.
Gordon.
Yes, it is scary.
You think about the year Josh Gordon had when he had 1,600 yards playing 14 games
Insane.
with a bunch of slappies at quarterback.
And he's going to have Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers will spoon feed.
And we haven't even mentioned Jacksonville and what they got potentially.
No, I know. They're another team that's certainly on the rise.
got 'em.
Did you see Hill's comments? He's basically guaranteeing he's going to have a 2,000-yard season.
Yeah. I mean, he could.
Interesting.
I mean,
He could if his quarterback stays clean.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Tyreek Hill.
Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
Oh, I was like, who having 2,000 what?
Yeah. He's the kind of guy that could do it.
Oh, sure.
If his quarterback can stay healthy.
He was on pace. Do you remember when they played the
Was
Browns
on pace for it last year.
And we looked at the stats and how he had, at that time, I think it was week 9, he had like 1,300 yards. The Browns as a team had like 12.
He had Madden stats.
I do have a question for you guys, though. So Hopkins goes to Tennessee. When the schedule came out, Tennessee's the 3rd game of the season, week 3 for the Browns. It was one of the ones we looked at, especially in the first 5, is, hey, that's a must-win for the Browns.
Yeah.
They need that because it's probably the weakest opponent in their first 5. Vrabel always has these dudes playing hard. Defensively, they're always tough. Now they have a receiver. I don't think Tannehill's a good quarterback. I don't believe in Will Levis or Malik Willis, the guy they drafted last year.
Right.
Does Hopkins on Tennessee make you guys do at least a double take on that week 3 game?
He makes them better. I mean,
they're better. I mean, if you think they're going to win, you still think they're going to win.
That game's here, right? Or is it there?
No, week 3, I believe, is there. Steve, let's put.
Wide receivers don't really change the point spread.
I thought it was. I thought that game was here.
If they can't, what are we doing? If they can't beat Tennessee, we might as well just shut the cookie operation down. Like this.
It is home. I apologize.
It's at home against Tennessee. Tennessee's a good, solid team.
Yeah, remember though, a couple of years ago, we opened against Tennessee.
Thought we were gonna kick their ass.
We had already put that one in the win column. We're like, let's get on to week 2. And our team quit in the 3rd quarter and got blown off the turf.
I think they got 3. They threw 3 picks. I remember Derrick Henry ran through 55 people on a screen pass. The game wasn't that close. But I'm just saying, like, if you want to be known as that type of team, you got to.
You have to beat Tennessee.
Yeah, you have to beat them.
Tennessee.
Let's wrap